talk about traveling, how about England? Used to be known as England, meaning the land of Angles, from the people for the continental Germany who began to invade Britain in the late 5th century.
The flag. The England flag is represented by a red cross with a white background. It is known as the St. George Cross. Then the Scotland flag is the St. Andrew's Cross, and the St. Patrick's Salute flag is from Ireland. So if you put them all together, you get the UK flag, that is this one that we all know, the Union Jack.
Now we are going to talk about the culture. William Shakespeare is one of the most famous writers and poet of the English language. You may know some of his plays, such as Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, or maybe Hamlet. His plays have had impacted all around the world.
Charles Chaplin, he lived from 1889 to 1977. He was an actor, he was born in London, and then he moved to Hollywood, and there he became really famous for his silent movies and his humor. He was really, really good.
Then we have the Queen Elizabeth II, who was born on Mayfair, London in 1926, but she ascended to the throne in 1952 at the age of 26, so it's considered as the longest serving British monarch.
Who else? For example, we have John Lennon, who was born in the year of 1940. He was a great musician, well known to be the key member of the Beatles, the legendary rock band, of course, recommended. Also, after the Beatles broke up in 1917, he continued with his successful career in single mode until his murder in 1980.
Now we have Stephen Hawking, who is an English physicist who was born in Oxford in the year 1942. Despite suffering from motor neuron disease, he has made a lot of things in the field of the science, such as the structure of the time and space, and that the black holes can emit radiation.
Now talking about the food. The England food is basically based on beef, pork, lamb, chicken, and fish. Is usually served with potatoes and some other vegetables. The meals, we have first the breakfast. The English breakfast is called actually the full English fried up, that is eggs, sausages, fried bread, baked beans, some mushrooms, and a cup of coffee or tea. It's between 7 and 9 a.m. The lunch is between noon and 1:30 p.m. and it's usually sandwiches. In some places of the UK they are called sarnies or bodies. Then we have the tea. There is any time between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. And the last is the dinner or the supper. Is the main meal. It's between 6:30 and 8 p.m. And in this meal we have, for example, the roasted beef, the Yorkshire pudding, or the fish and chips that is really common over there.
Now, let's talk about interesting fact about England.
Well, French was the official language of England for 300 years, till 1066 to 3062.
Another one, Oxford University had rules specifically forbade students from bringing bows and arrows to class. Imagine that.
Do you know that English people consume more tea per capita than anyone else in the world?
On the other hand, we have the population of 51.4 million in 2008.
And last but not least, England is sometimes wrongly used in reference to the whole UK. This is not only wrong, it can be sometimes offensive. for some people in the UK?
Well, for the weather, I just can say keep yourself psychologically prepared because it's a variable climate. And one day it could be sunny and the other rainy. So take it in consideration.
The best months to travel to England are March, April, May, September, and October. These months have the most pleasant temperatures and less rain. On December, London is a very popular place to be on the holidays, so you must expect the street be crowded by people of England or tourists. No matter when you travel, you should always take an umbrella.
Now, we're gonna give you some advices for you to travel by backpacking to London. And remember that this budget is made for traveling in the lowest season, which is February, when the weather is still a little bit cold.
Okay, this budget is for instance of 3 days, including round flight. First, the transportation. The bus from Durango to Mexico City, it's about 1,200 pesos. Then the flight from Mexico City to London and from London to Mexico City, it's about 7,859 pesos. Then the lodgement. The lowest price we found was on Airbnb. We found some rooms about 30 pounds per 2 person. It's equivalent to 750 pesos.
For the food, you should take for breakfast 18 pounds per 3 days, which is equivalent to 450 Mexican pesos. For the meal, 45 pounds, which is equivalent to 1,125 pesos. For the drinks, you should take 35 pounds, which is equivalent to 900 Mexican pesos. And for the buses or for transport, you should take 42 pounds, which is equivalent to 924 pesos.
Okay, so the total will be in British pound 528 and in Mexican pesos about 13,208. That is not that much if you take into consideration that it includes the flights, the food, and it's a country that is really, really far away. So England is waiting for you.